You're looking at part 2, Jahmyr Gibbs, of my 5-part video series on what top 5 running backs are out there that are not traditionally ranked inside the top 5 that could finish as the top 5 group. I think all of them could be top 8. These guys, Hall, Pollard, Walker, Gibbs, are not in anyone's top 5, at least not in the consensus data, but these guys I think can all slip into the top 5. Now, Bijan is pretty much in everybody's top 5, but the reason he leads this group is because I think he is running back 1. I think he's very fitting to be in this category of bold top 5 running backs for 2023. If you want to watch part 1 about Bijan, click the link down in the description. This video is about Jahmyr Gibbs and why he is in my top 5 running backs for 2023. It's bold style. I know, it's not for everybody. This isn't cookie cutter. This is the fantasy football show.
You know.
And it begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty, Jahmyr Gibbs is smaller. He's a running back. And what about Montgomery, Smitty? I get sick and tired of hearing people talk about Montgomery and why Montgomery's going to hold back Jahmyr Gibbs. Do people understand if this team runs 400 and let's say 50 times in 2023, that Jahmyr Gibbs isn't even getting half of that work? You don't even need him consuming half of the rushing attempts in 2023 in Detroit. But Smitty, Monty's going to take some touchdowns away. This offense is potent. This offense is going to be throwing this man all over the field. There was an offseason report by a beat writer that said he watched 3 straight plays in a row where Jahmyr Gibbs touched the football. All 3 of them, he was lined up in different places. The first one, he was in the backfield, took the handoff like a running back. The next play, he was lined up in the slot as a wide receiver and caught a football. The third play, in a row, back to back to back. The third play, Jahmyr Gibbs was lined up at wide receiver, went in motion, returned to the backfield. They snapped the ball, handed it to him. This guy's going to get moved all over the field. Monty has nothing to do with them. The two are completely unrelated in a sense because their positions are entirely different. Monty is the between the tackles runner. Monty can consume over 200 to 225, 230 carries, and it wouldn't touch Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide one single bit. Monty is irrelevant. He can still do very well. On 230 carries, he could have 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards, 6 to 7 touchdowns. That is expected. In fact, that is needed to keep this man fresh. He's not running for 1,000 yards on the ground, most likely. He's probably going to get you 700, could be 800 yards rushing, get you about that same amount, if not more, maybe 200 or 300 more on the receiving end than the rushing end, and about 12 to 14 total touchdowns, maybe 65, 75. Wouldn't shock me if this man had over 75 receptions as a rookie. And you can say, oh, that doesn't happen, Smitty. How can you say that about a rookie? He's a rookie, Smitty. Rookies, we've never seen him take a snap before. Well, you can play that game all you want. You can say,
I want to wait until I see it.
I'm going to be Captain Obvious today, Smitty. And you can do that if you want. We are about predicting the future here on the Fantasy Football Show. We are about looking at the player talent and saying who's going to explode from their value, who's the next elite running back, who's the next guy to become the next Alvin Kamara. If we sat back and said, oh, we'll wait till Bijan does it, we'll wait until Jahmyr Gibbs does it, then we would miss out on the buy-in opportunity, the return on investment that's staring every single one of you in the face. These two guys are in my top 5 running backs in 2023. And dare I say this, okay, maybe these guys slip out. Maybe they're 5, 6, 7. Maybe they're 7 and 8 and 5. Maybe they're 3, 5, and 7. I'm not saying all 5 of these guys are beaten out. Barkley, Chubb, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey. I'm not an idiot. I know one of those guys, it could be Barkley, it could be any one of those guys, is gonna probably slip into the top 5. Maybe 2 of them do. But I believe 3 of these guys are going to be in the top 5. I truly believe that, and I think there's a world where all 5 could be in the top 5. But here's the kicker. Here's where I think I'm going to maybe still make you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. These guys are in my top 5. They're cemented in. These guys, I hope, venture in and out. Hopefully a couple of them, 1 or 2 of them, maybe all 3, stay and remain and get cemented in as well. But these guys are in there. They're in there. Jahmyr Gibbs as a rookie is in my cemented at the end of the season top 5. Do I draft him as a top 5 running back? Again, do I look like a complete moron? You can be honest, I won't be mad in the comments. But no, I'm not drafting Jahmyr Gibbs in the top 5 running backs. He's going in the 3rd and 4th round. In most of your drafts, you better not draft him as a top 5 running back or you aren't paying attention. But I'm telling you, end of season. The season comes to a conclusion. Guess who's in my top 5 running backs? Guess who I predict to be almost cemented in to the top 5 running backs? These two rookie monsters, the changing of the guard, the term you hear me talk about in fantasy football. Anybody else using that term's watching the show and copying it. The changing of the guard is happening at the running back position, and these two guys are top 5 running backs. They're 2 of the top 5 running backs, and the next video is going to be on these 3 gentlemen who I think could definitely have a cup of coffee and dance with these guys. It's Bijan and Gibbs. It's Gibbs and Bijan, and dare I say that one of my favorite draft strategies in 2023 redraft, let alone dynasty, Bob, is to have both these guys on the same team. You could get a St. Brown, a Bijan, and a Gibbs. You can get an Olave, a Bijan, and a Gibbs. You can get a conglomerate, a monopoly on the running back position. And you can say, oh, the rookies, running backs are dying, running backs are dead, running back market sucks. Well, guess what? These two guys got drafted inside the top 12, top 10 pick, top 12 pick. They're going to do something for the market. They're going to do something for fantasy football running backs, and they're going to make teams say, you know what, this position is amazing. And I think we're going to see the position evolve over the years to where it does become a weapon. It's really a weapon. It's almost not even an RB anymore. This guy's lining up in the slot all over the place. This guy is going to be in the slot very, very often. And this guy is the inverse of Deebo Samuel. He's more of a wide receiver than he is a running back. And so anybody thinks this weapon's not going to be all over the field catching footballs as Jameson Williams is out the first 6 weeks with a suspension, that he's not going to be thrown to the wolves and mature very quickly, trial by fire, feet to the fire. He's going to learn by making mistakes and being out there. He's quick. He sees a hole and he's gone. This guy's gonna pop
through a lane
and be gone, untouched. One of the best breakaway runners in the National Football League, and he hasn't even touched the football yet. Yeah, I said it. Chew on that. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, both in my top 5, and this is video 2 of a 5-part series. Get ready for part 3, 4, and 5. One more thing before you go, draft pick trading. A lot of the time when I'm handed a number 1 or number 2 overall pick, I want JJ, I want Jamar Chase. I mean, it's a great position to be in, right? But when I ask you, would you take Jahmyr Gibbs and Justin Fields for JJ, would you do it? Or if you want to say, I'll get a quarterback later and you just can't handle that quarterback situation, then how about Calvin Ridley and Jahmyr Gibbs for JJ? The answer is you would do it. The answer should be you would do it. And for that reason, I'm a big proponent of trading out of round 1 if you can do it in any one of your leagues, because if you could even get 2 third rounders, which I'm not saying that you would have to go that route, you could get a 2nd and a 4th rounder, you could get potentially a 2nd and a 3rd. And if you got that number 1 or number 2 overall pick, don't do an even Steven trade. The whole point is you need to acquire 2 players for your number 1 overall pick. You got to make the person overpay. And there are people that will overpay. Overpaying Ungers. They'll overpay all the time. So if you gave me, in a worst case scenario, 2 third rounders for the number 1 overall pick, and again, I think you can get more, my worst case scenario should comfort you in terms of the process being a good one to partake in. Gibbs and Ridley are both 3rd round picks, or if you went 2nd round pick and 4th round pick, a 2nd and a 4th for the number 1 overall pick, you're getting a Walker and a Ridley. But more importantly, because we're on the topic of Jahmyr Gibbs, you get Jahmyr Gibbs and a Ridley, Jahmyr Gibbs and a Fields, Jahmyr Gibbs and maybe a Christian Watson in a worst case scenario, or an Olave and Jahmyr Gibbs. So think about trading your number 1, number 2, or number 3 overall pick if it lands you this monster who can compete with Bijan in a sense for being a top 5 running back in 2023. Now get out of here.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.